Sparking Change with Gigi, a show that aims to make the world a better place by bringing together authentic minds. This show encourages each of us to be the change we wish to see in the world. Get ready to be inspired and join us on this journey to create a brighter future for all.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sparking Change with Gigi. I'm your host, Giovanna Tartarone, and today we're going to be talking about goal achievers. So the month of January is the mentoring month, right? It's having a mentor and the importance of having a mentor. So we've been on this trail for the month of January about achieving goals, because we all are really, if you are a goal achiever, January you start with new goals. Very shortly after that, a lot of people fall off to, and they don't follow their goals anymore. They lose that momentum. So today's show is about how do we get a coach or a mentor to help us succeed in our goals. And my guest today is Tanya Vasallo. Tanya, welcome to Sparking Change with Gigi. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Giovanna. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I know you and I work together at the Napoleon Hill Institute, and we coach a lot of people. And I love, what you do. We both have the same mission. So I'd love to hear a little bit about you. How did you get into coaching, and how does it really help you in your life to achieve your goals?
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So I think the first time I ever heard the term coach was back in 2005 with Landmark Education. I don't know if you've ever heard of Landmark Education, but yes. They have different programs, and their third one, I think it was self-expression and leadership. And so it was a 3-month program, and you were working with a coach every single week. You had to touch base with them. You were developing a program to impact a specific community. The whole goal of that particular program was to choose a community you want to impact and create a project for it within these 3 months. And so I did that. I chose wanting to work with artists, and the community I wanted to impact was children. But I had no idea how I was going to do this. I had just moved to New York City. I was working at the advertising agency there, and I started with this program in Landmark, and they assigned me a coach. And every week we would touch base, and she would connect with me to see if I had followed through and done the things that I was going to do. And some weeks, most of the weeks, I'd say I did. Some weeks you'd stop and you'd be like, no, I didn't. And then she'd ask questions like, well, why? What stopped you? What were your limitations? She didn't talk so much about like limiting beliefs like we do here, at the Napoleon Hill Institute, but she was able to tackle in with that, and we'd look at it together, and we'd talk about the fears that showed up. Lo and behold, after 3 months, just 3 months, this is all it takes. What's 3 months? 30, 60, 90 days. And 90 days, I was able to figure out, and I had no idea how I was going to do this. I was able to gather 47 different artists. We had over, I think, 61 pieces, and we did a silent auction. And I found the location. Wow. Everyone got involved. This project became bigger than myself, from just one idea that they had suggested.
Yes.
And from there on, we sold all the art pieces. So there was an impact on the artist. And then with the money raised, we donated to Save the Children, and it helped revamp a school in Honduras. I don't know how many thousands of dollars. It was anywhere between $5,000 and $10,000, which to me at the time seemed like huge,
Yeah.
And so when we all gathered together, I realized the impact, because we all shared about our projects and the impact that each one of these projects had in the world. And so many times projects, we make them about ourselves. And when I realized the impact of the artists that donated, the people that bought the pieces of art that are hanging in their homes, the children, because their school got revamped, and they have a new
Right.
school, all these kids that suddenly are going to become doctors or lawyers or having their own impact in the world. And so it was the first time that I got present to the impact and the ripple effect that one human being with one idea can create in just 3 months and just 90 days. And
And with that
that wouldn't
mentor,
have happened.
right.
Yeah, it would have
I
not
was
have
just gonna say
happened
that.
without having a coach. So that was the first time. And then what that did was set me on a path of like, what's this whole coaching thing about? I want to be one of the coaches for the next program there, and support other people. So that's the first time that I did it. They trained me as a coach. Then I went on to study at Coach U. Then it was getting my certification with the International Coach Federation. So coaching became such an important piece in my life, of just realizing that no matter what you do, can you get there on your own? Yes, sure, of course. But it might take you so much longer than if you have someone that can be there supporting you along the way, and that's been my journey with coaching. And now I'm getting certified at the Napoleon Hill Institute. We just got certified with that too. And it's just amazing what you can achieve, especially like you're saying, we're at the beginning of the year, it's January. There's still time to think about people that you're in alignment with, that you connect with, that you're seeing that they're having incredible results in their life and that you want those same results. Let them help you and support you along the way.
And I totally agree about getting support because, as an educator, I know that I always focused on, where are the students weak at? And because I knew where they're strong at, so I focused on the weakness. But if we're looking at from a coaching perspective or a mentor, they look at your strengths. So if you have a goal, whatever that goal may be, when someone is helping you use your strengths to focus on that goal, you're more likely to achieve it, right? And what and this is what I want to get into, is like talking about the benefits of having a coach and what they see in you that we don't see in ourselves. We are our worst critic, right? We criticize everything we do. We're not happy. We do it 1,000 times. And it's because of the self-confidence that is part of, when you have a mentor, they look for the great things that you bring to the table, and these goals that we achieve are goals that are, I say, they're meant for us, right? They're meant for us. And in my own experience, having Cleona as my mentor, having Left for Faith as my mentor in the speaking arena, like they see great things in me that I didn't even see in myself. And our goals are always meant for us to grow and become a better person, and to give and serve. But we don't see it that way unless someone is telling us, because our conditioning, our upbringing, our environments are not conducive sometimes to bring out the best in us. They bring out the weaknesses in us. Like I said, in school, it was always about what are we weak at that we need to strengthen versus what are we strong at that we need to hone in and use those gifts to help others.
Yeah.
Can you share some of your experiences, with that information? Like, where did you find yourself being very, seeing your strengths from a mentor, seeing your strengths versus your weakness?
Oh my God, I've had so many along the way. And it's just like once you start with a mentor or coach, that was my beginning stage back in 2005. And I've surrounded myself over and over and over. And for people that can't afford, and I put that in quotes, because the whole I can't afford it, it's ask a better question. How can I afford it? Because you can't not afford not to have someone to support you along the way. But if you're looking for mentors, you can always read a book. Nowadays, you can, listen to webinars and be surrounded with that. And that's a great starting point. But I will add to that you will accelerate your journey. You'll 10x it. You will have that quantum leap if you have someone by your side. And a perfect example for that would be, think of a coach like in sports, like if someone wants to reach,
Yeah.
Olympic level of winning a golden medal at the Olympics, can they do it on their own? I'm sure there's a case or two there. It's going to be a small percentage of anyone
Yeah.
that's reached, a golden medal at the Olympics. I don't personally know any of the stories, but maybe there are out there. But anyone that's reached that stature, of getting a golden, even silver or bronze medal, or even reaching the Olympics, they've done it with support and help and having a coach there for those moments of weakness when you're just like, I can't do this anymore, like it's just not
Yeah.
working for me, or you're feeling like you just want to give up and throw the towel. Is that the expression, throw the towel in English? Um, uh, so yeah, I started my journey, like I said, with this particular project in 2005 because I was part of Landmark and it was, like our self-development. But I didn't and get more in touch with it until I think it was 2016. I joined a mastermind, which is interesting because the Napoleon Hill Institute, we emphasize the importance of masterminding. And
Sure.
honestly, we have to give credit where credit is due. Napoleon Hill, I mean, that word mastermind gets thrown out around a lot, but he's the one that coined that term. Like it's become a cliche
Sure.
term nowadays. But if you really want to understand what a mastermind is, go read Think and Grow Rich, the chapter of Mastermind Alliance. But anyway, I joined the mastermind, and it was a big investment for me at that time. It was approximately $20,000, and anyone, for some people it could be a lot. For other people it could be like, oh, that's nothing, a piece of cake, because they see the value of the investment. And I looked at it as almost like a master's degree in entrepreneurship. I wanted to learn the systems because I'd been like on that feast and famine wave,
Yes.
like some years we were doing good and my husband and I were running a studio, and some months we were like, oh yeah, we got the client. And then the next month it was like no money at all. And we're like, oh my God, we're going to go have to get a job or whatever. So when I joined this mastermind, the purpose and why I wanted a coach in that mastermind and this group is because I wanted to learn the skills, and I wanted to have the knowledge of how to be successful with my business. I'm like, if other people are doing it, and I'm hearing people making 6 figures and 7 figures, which to me was like jaw dropping at that time, because like I was lucky if I was making $1,000 that month, then 5,000, then back to 1,000, then like nothing, like it was a lot of ups and downs. And so once I joined it, wow, having the systems, like I said, as you have those quantum leaps, I hit my first 6-figure year with a baby in hand. I had a 2-year-old, a toddler, and I was only working 20 hours a week. So I wasn't even working. I wish I was working like I did in corporate, 80 hours, that I could put 80 hours a week into my business, but I couldn't, so it was like 20 hours. This is all I got. How do I make this work? And I was able to do it. And I attribute that obviously to me implementing, but because I acquired specialized knowledge as well as getting the support. Your days aren't always going to be like this, where you're on a high and you're like, oh my God, everything's going great. You're going to have moments like that, and you want to have someone there celebrating with you, but you also want to have someone there for the moments that the fears show up, the moments that you want to give up, the moments that the tears are shedding. You want to have someone that shine that mirror back at you and reflect back, your big why. You want someone to reflect back, why you're doing this, that you want someone holding that belief for you. Like you're saying, Giovanna, when you're losing that belief yourself, where they're saying, no, keep doing this and put this and this in place and just keep on going, and you're 3 feet from gold again,
I'm used to. I love your story, and we know now more than ever that a coach and a mentor are like vital to our success. One, anyone who has done it already, like you mentioned, I think it was Tony Robbins who mentioned success leaves clues, right? And sometimes we don't see those clues, but our mentor, our coach, is able to help us see them. And I just want to go back because I feel like my own story, it's like our parents were our coaches when we were growing up. Then it's our teachers who were our coaches, right? When we go to school. And after we get to college, it's our professors during college. And then after college, it's like we're on our own. When life really gets hard and when you're really trying to define what you want to do in life, what are your, how you want to serve and what career you want to get into, you're left on your own. And I think this is where a lot of people become what we're known today as drifters, right? They have no goals. They don't know where they're going. They're not sure where they're going. But the ones that really make a commitment to themselves, they venture into personal development. And again, I never knew what personal development was. Even after I have 2 master's degree, I never even knew what that term was myself. So it was a whole big surprise to me that I went from learning what was outside of me, learning the subjects and learning the curriculums and getting degrees, to now flipping it and learning from the inside. Like what do I bring to the table? What gifts do I have that I can help others? And that was a game changer for me. Hence the name Sparking Change, right? It's like that's what sparked that change in me, was because I'm now working from the inside out versus the outside in. And this is what we as coaches do for others, is find that spark within them to help them, you know, feel fulfilled, feel like they're
Yeah.
here for a purpose, because we all are here to serve, to greater humanity, right? And it's not just about ourselves. So, um, going along the lines of that, how you being a coach for your clients, what do you see as far as like the biggest impact that you make to them?
Oh my God. Obviously, there's different case studies with different clients. Um, but I think you said something really important before, which is holding the belief for them when they can't believe in themselves. I feel like one of my superpowers is being able to see the gifts that other people have
Yeah,
and bringing that out of them and reflecting it back in a mirror and saying, no, this is how you're seeing yourself, but this is how I see you, and I know what the possibility is, and helping them step into possibility. Because I think what happens too is, as we get older, as kids, we have all these dreams, we have all these ideas of what life might be as we get older, and then more responsibilities come. You go to
sure.
college, then you get married, then you get a job, and then you have kids. And so now you have like all these responsibilities, financial, work, all these different things. And you you end up shoving those dreams away somewhere in the back of your mind and forgetting about them and just kind of drifting, like you're saying. It's just, you're just going along instead of enjoying life. I'm a big believer that we were put on this planet because we have a purpose. Each individual has their own purpose, and we're also here to enjoy this life. And yes, I know many of you might be like, oh, but you don't know my circumstances, and you don't know, my upbringing, or you don't know what happened to me. And that's, honestly, that's called life. That we all have stories of stuff that's happened to us, of how our parents didn't treat us the right way, of how we got abused in this relationship. And I'm not taking away, the significance of how harsh that can be, of people's certain circumstances.
Sure.
But it's finding that way out and saying, what life lessons have I learned, and how can I start finding joy and tapping into those dreams again in my life? Like, just life is meant, it's really short. We don't know when we're departing this planet, so we might as well make the best out of it. And so if you're one of the people that have shoved those dreams in the back, in the corners of your mind, and haven't opened up those drawers in many years, I do invite you to sit down and journal, brew yourself a cup of coffee or of tea, or, just sit down with yourself, ask yourself, what do I want? What do I want for my life? Here's the thing, when you work with a coach or a mentor, I feel like people spend more time planning their trips and their weddings than they do their own life.
Totally agree.
That's why I'm saying I invite you to pull out a journal, make yourself your favorite cup of tea. And mine, by the way, is green tea. I love the tea house here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. If you ever want to give me any gifts, tea is the way to go. I love trying new teas. But find those pleasures, and sit down and journal and connect with yourself. Find time to just let your mind wander. Find time to meditate. Maybe go on a walk and ask yourself that constant question: what do I want? What do I want? What do I want? Because many of us are like, well, I want this for my kids, or I want this, but we're not planning on it. And then suddenly emergency things happen, divorces happen, cancer diagnoses, like just all these different things. Like, don't wait for that moment to make that decision. Carve out the time now, especially we're at the beginning of the year. What a better time? We ride the energy of like New Year's resolutions, goal setting, reach out to Giovanna, work with her, and she'll help you get started with goal setting and achieving your desires. Like, that's what we focus on here in the Institute. And she'll do a great job of helping you along the ways. And you will be a completely different person. I guarantee you, if you come and work with us and do a mentorship or coaching, if you feel a calling to become a coach or something, reach out to Giovanna. You'll watch, your life will be transformed.
I say, that's wonderfully said, Tanya. I always say we have to stop making ourselves a priority. We always think of everything outside of us, and we keep doing and doing and doing and doing, and we never stop to ask ourselves questions about being, right? How are you feeling within yourself? Your state of mind, being happy, what makes you happy? So, journaling and answering those questions to really focus within is a key essential that a coach helps a person to navigate, because the success of your goals is through really focusing on what you want and what you're good at. And we don't tend to do that. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back. And I'd love to touch upon knowing, the key factors in understanding the process of when you lay out the goals, right? Because people sometimes make goals that they cannot achieve, and they give up so quickly. Mm-hmm. So understanding how to, just writing out goals that are meant for your greater self, versus just, I want $1 million. I want to earn $1 million this year. Like, yeah, that's a great goal, but there's a way of doing it. And, we teach that. So I want to go through that process. We'll be right back with the short commercial break.
Now, the vast majority, approximately 95% of the people of all countries, go around and around without aim or purpose. They drift with the circumstances of life, good or bad.
A drifter is one who permits himself to be influenced and controlled by circumstances outside of his own mind.
Whereas the successful individuals create their own circumstances and ride them to victory.
When you're on purpose, you're living on purpose, you will never quit if you have a real purpose.
A burning desire to be and to do is the starting point from which the dreamer must take off. But what I have done has been recorded, it's been tested, it's being taken to a free world, and it's going to benefit millions of people who are not yet born.
And it's going to benefit millions of people who are not yet born. We're some of those people. That we're spreading this to the world. As your awareness grows, the doubt is gone, so that you can manifest whatever it is your heart desires. Isn't that beautiful?
That is so good. I love that commercial, really, because it's, you're helping people become aware, have more awareness in their true potential. So let's talk about the goals for a second, because again, I think it is, and I remember this date because it's my daughter's birthday. Cleona said that there's research that shows by in January 1st, people put in goals, and then by January 19th, they don't follow them anymore. They lose interest, right?
47%.
Which is amazing. So, and you look at there's so many reasons why they don't follow the goals anymore, right? But setting goals that are true to their strengths of what they can do. Sometimes they set goals going in it very high or too low. But behind setting goals, there is having a definite major purpose. That is the key to, it's the beginning stages of setting goals, right? Like, what's your purpose? What are you trying to achieve? And then we set the goals to achieve that purpose. So from what we study, from Napoleon Hill, from Bob Proctor, there's a way of setting goals. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, this is so important. And I want to add to just the stats of this, that only 97% of people do not set goals. Only 3% of people set goals. Mm-hmm. And out of that 3%, only 1% writes them down and reads them every day. So that's a very small percentage of people. And so going back to like definiteness of purpose and, like even the question that we just said before, if you sit down and you ask yourself, what do I want? What do I want? Mm-hmm. Whatever age you are, whether you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, I don't even care. If you're 80, I've had clients that are in their 70s and starting new projects. So what do you want to do, before you depart this planet? Another question that you can put in your journal as you're journaling: if you were to die tomorrow, do you feel complete? Have you lived your life to your fullest? And if the answer is no, then the follow-up question is, well, what is it that I want to do? That's a starting point. And if you're stuck and you're like, well, I just don't know, I really don't know what I want to do, then make a list of all the things that you don't want to do, that you don't like in your life right now, that you're tolerating. Maybe it's your job. Maybe you don't want a 9-to-5 job. Maybe you want to start your own business. Maybe you want to travel the world. Maybe you want to just live in a home in a cabin in the mountains. And just remember that your goals and your desires don't have to be anyone else's. They're not your spouse's desire. They're not your parents' desires, which I think is some of the reasons why some people don't complete their goals, Giovanna. And I think it's really important as you're writing them to really focus on it. Do I really want this goal? And why do I want it? Is it my goal, or is it a cultural goal? Is it a societal goal? Is it my parents' goal that's still, a limiting belief? Like, I want to lose weight, like how many years have you been writing down that you want to lose 10 pounds? And maybe that's just coming from limiting beliefs, and paradigms that someone told you that you don't look good in the body and in the shape that you are. And maybe it's refocusing the goal of, instead of losing weight, saying, I want to find pleasure in my body, and I'm going to gift myself massages and treatments or something else, like, so it's really important as you're writing down your goals to ask yourself, why do I want it? And do I really want this goal? Where is it coming from? And a clue, a hint there. If you've been writing it over and over for many years and it hasn't happened, most likely that's not your goal. That's something that someone else planted that seed in your subconscious and you're trying to achieve. So that's a starting point. Another suggestion that I have for goals is look at all areas of your life. This is not just for your career. You could set goals for your career and your business, but look at all the different areas, like look at your health and wellness. Look at where you're, and I did this exercise with my husband at the beginning of the year. You could do like a little pie, a circle with different categories. And, what do you want for your health? What do you want for your spirituality and contribution? What do you want for your relationships? What do you want for love and romance? Because I think those are two different things too, relationships and connections with people versus your romantic life, your love life. What do you want? And the invitation with this pie chart, I'll put it right here, just rate yourself. So you're going to draw a little circle. Ooh, where's the camera there? And each category is going to be your health and wellness, your career, finances, contribution and spirituality, your relationships, your love life, and romantic side, playfulness and creativity. I was ranking very low on that one this past year. I was so focused on all these other things, so you really want to take an assessment first as to where have you been focusing your energy on. And what ends up happening on this pie chart is you start connecting the dots, and it might look something weird like this. You're like, oh yeah,
you're more on one side than the other, right?
Yeah, like I've been doing great on my spirituality and contribution, and I've been doing great on my career and learning. I also have learning on there because I do believe we all should be continuously seeking new specialized knowledge and learning about ourselves, about whatever we need for our career. So what ends up happening before you do the goals is take an assessment. Where are you at? And what happened to me, and I'll be vulnerable. I'll share, I'll be honest with this. I was scoring really high in most areas, except for in the area of playfulness and creativity. And my background, I used to be an art director in New York City in advertising, so I am tapped into my creativity. I've been a photographer. Like I need that. That's one of my core values, but I've been ignoring it this past year because I've been giving so much more weight to other areas, like to business and to learning. And I'd also been neglecting my husband, like we both recommitted by doing this exercise of, more time together, because I don't know for many of you, but once you have kids, in our case in particular, all the focus goes to our work, to our child, and then the little time you have to yourself, because obviously you have to take care of yourself too. And then the little sliver at the end as to the relationship, or that's how it's been happening to us. And so we both became very aware of that. And I said, we have to flip this, because if we don't take care of the relationship and we're so off balance because we're so focused on work, in his case, he's been very focused on creativity because he's an artist. And so we're helping each other, as to how we're going to do it. And then you get your own coach too, and you get into your own communities that can support you in those different areas that you're needing, because maybe you need a general coach like we do in the Napoleon Hill Institute, where we're going to help you fulfill your desires. And what it is, you're going to set that one, definiteness of purpose. And within 8 months, you will be a whole new person. So that's one.
Well, we say 3 months, right? Think about that. We say
3 months. It's the disruptor phase. In 3 months, you are going to be brand new. But getting you closer and closer to that goal, it's going to take a little bit of time. So just be aware of that too. These things don't happen overnight. It's like wanting to lose weight. and expecting to lose 100 pounds in a week or in a month is not going to happen. You have to be realistic. But then you also have other types of coaches and mentors that you might need. Maybe you need a coach or a mentor in the financial sector, or maybe in the romantic sector. Maybe you're looking to find, you're wanting to date someone, or you're coming out of a divorce and you're looking for that significant other. You want to build your relationships. Maybe is like I was saying for myself, tapping more into your creativity and playfulness. It's just like, I've been not so much in that arena. So you really want to focus on that, and then start setting your goals in each one of those categories. And again, once you write those goals, do I really want this? Is that my goal? Has it been, if it's been on your list for several years, chuck it. Most likely it's someone else's goal. Really analyze that. Why hasn't that happened? Or it could be because you have your own limiting beliefs. If you really do want that goal and it hasn't become true for you yet, ask yourself why. What fears have shown up for you? What limiting beliefs do you have? What paradigms do you have about, what stories are you telling yourself?
And this is what a coach really helps you to do, right? Because you write these goals down with all good intentions to complete them and get them accomplished, but you don't know why you're getting stuck with them, getting stuck to accomplish them. I don't know if you study Bob Proctor, but he was another my late mentor, and he broke it down to like A-type goals, B-type goals, and C-type goals, right? And the A-type goals are the goals that you really know how to accomplish. So it's really not even a goal, because a goal is meant for you to grow. So if you're looking for a new car and you know how to get the new car, that's not a goal. It's not going to make you grow. But if you go to a C-type goal, which you have no idea how to get there, this is where having a mentor and a coach is going to help you, like you said, believe in you, trust in you, guide you, give you the resources or the people, the places that you may use to achieve your goal. You made a good point earlier, and you were talking about masterminding, right? And achieving those big, higher goals needs to be through a mastermind, because we don't know everything. We don't know everything. We may want to achieve a grand goal, but being connected to other people is essential. So I love what you said before about the fact that it's also commitment, right? It's a commitment. And this is where a mentor or a coach will guide you there. I wanted to also talk about, bringing the fact that we don't know everything. Even the best of the best of the best of the best have a coach, right? The president has a coach. We don't know it, but I'm sure he's got a coach, right? I'm sure Tony Robbins has a coach, and he's the best of the best, right? Because we're always looking to do better and be more and have more. As long as we're living on this earth, we want to accomplish more, right? Because that's what makes us feel good. With that being said, I want to show a TED Talk about a doctor who is being coached, who didn't think he needed a coach, but when he did get a coach, what happened? So I'm going to try to present. I'm going to share my screen. Can you see this?
Yep, I can.
Okay.
How do professionals get better at what they do? How do they
Oh,
get
wait,
great?
but I
this.
hear it, but I don't see the image.
Go to school,
Oh,
you study, you practice, you learn, you graduate, and then you go out into the world and you make your way on your own. That's how doctors learn. That's how lawyers do, scientists. Now, the contrasting view comes out of sports. And they say, you are never done. Everybody needs a coach. The greatest in the world needs a coach. So I tried to think about this as a surgeon. pay someone to come into my operating room, observe me, and critique me. It seems absurd. Expertise means not needing to be coached. So then which view is right? It turns out there are numerous problems in making it on your own. You don't recognize the issues that are standing in your way, or if you do, you don't necessarily know how to fix them. And the result is that somewhere along the way, you stop improving. And I thought about that, and I realized that was exactly what had happened to me as a surgeon. So I asked a former professor of mine who had retired, his name is Bob Osteen, and he agreed to come to my operating room and observe me. The case, I remember that first case, it went beautifully. I didn't think there would be anything much he'd have to say when we were done. Instead, he had a whole page of dense with notes. Just small things, he said. Did you notice that the light had swung out of the wound during the case? Another thing I noticed, he said, your elbow goes up in the air every once in a while. That means you're not in full control. It was a whole nother level of awareness. He was describing what great coaches do. And what they do is they are your external eyes and ears, providing a more accurate picture of your reality. They're recognizing the fundamentals. They're breaking your actions down and then helping you build them back up again. After 2 months of coaching, I felt myself getting better again. And after a year, I saw my complications drop down even further. It was painful. I didn't like being observed. And at times I didn't want to have to work on things. I also felt there were periods where I would get worse before I got better. But it made me realize that the coaches were onto something profoundly important. I think it's not just how good you are now, I think it's how good you're gonna be that really matters.
So you were able to hear that?
Yeah, and I got some good insights from that. You know, one of the things that he mentioned is he didn't say it with those words, but we all have those blind spots. He didn't know what he wasn't seeing. You do need someone else there. Even the best athletes of the world, if we go back to an athlete, it's such an easy metaphor. If you are a skier and you don't have someone observing you, doing videos of you, telling you, no, bend down a little bit more. No, turn, push your weight on the right ski. No, turn it to the left. No, you're doing you need someone to guide you. I don't care. You could be the best person in the world. You need someone to guide you, or you will stay stuck. Like you said, you won't grow. You'll stop improving. That's the other thing that stood out for me. It's like, you don't know what you don't know. And
Absolutely.
So it's so important to have someone there. Like I said, can you get from point A to point B? Absolutely. But it might take you 20 years. Can you afford 20 years of your time? Or do you want to get from point A to point B in 1 year because you invest in hiring a coach that's going to take you to the next level and have that quantum leap in your life? So, I think it's a pretty easy question. Sometimes I get from many people like, oh, but it's so expensive. Coaches are so expensive. And so I'd reverse that question back to, well, how much do you want to invest in yourself? Because the coach is going to give you the best tools to improve yourself, to make yourself a better person, to acquire the results that you're looking for.
Of course.
You can't do on your own. And how much are you paying for your kids' tuition in college? How much are colleges running nowadays? $100,000 a year?
Easy.
There are coaches that charge $100,000 a year, but you can find good coaches and good support in whatever area of your life that you're needing to be able to take you to the next level. So hopefully anyone that's been kind of hesitant, like, oh, I don't know if a coach would work for me or whatever, because I've heard that too in the past. I'm like, well, if you don't try it, you'll never know.
Exactly. And the other thing is that no matter what level you are in your life, having a coach to just continue to help you level up, right? Because we don't ever stop learning. When you stop learning, you get stagnant. Like, and there's systems are always changing, technology is changing, everything. And if we stay the same and we think that we're done because we're, we have our, master's degree or whatever, and we're done and our career, is set, that you're literally cheating yourself to really explore and have your true potential come out of you, right? You're cheating yourself because you're not giving yourself that opportunity to see the gifts that you really bring to this world. And only a coach and a mentor can help you to see that, because with this world being so crazy, we don't see our true potential. There's a lot of noise, I say, from the outside, stopping us from really tapping in to what we really want, because we're afraid. And this is one big thing that, mentoring and coaches do, is they let you, Bob talks about hitting the terror barrier, right? It's pushing you to, and feeling comfortable that you're not going to fall on your face. And it's getting out of your comfort zone. We are so conditioned to play it safe. And if you want bigger and you want success in life, you just can't continue to play it safe, because being safe is being stuck, and I know for us too, we had to do many things to get out of our comfort zone, right? And, be vulnerable and let people laugh. Who cares? Have a sense of humor, because I think having, one of the principles we study, Napoleon Hill principles, is, having a positive mental attitude. It's so easy to just always look at the negative side and be scared and not have enough, what I call faith, right? To believe that we can do it. And this is what a mentor does. And you said it before, Tanya, it's, we let them borrow our faith that they can do it. And that, to me, when I see someone going from fear to faith, brings joy in me, because I know that I saw it in them. And when you work with your client, you see in them what they don't see in themselves. Right.
Yeah,
so in that,
absolutely. And I think it's very important, Giovanna, too, to talk about, maybe you could talk about the 6 different fears that Napoleon Hill mentions, over and over in his different books. Like, there's the fear of poverty, there's the fear of being judged, there's the fear of ill health, fear of loss of love, fear of old age, and fear of death. And so fear and faith cannot exist at the same time. And so go back and listen to this and think, when you're confronted with having to grow and stretch yourself and be, have the courage. That's why my podcast is called The Courage to Be. You have to have courage and do something that's uncomfortable. That's how you grow. And usually, to tap into that courage, you have to overcome one of those 6 fears, so you have to think about it. What fear is keeping me stuck right now? And can I make a decision right at this moment and tap into faith and saying, you know what? I am so scared of recording this video and being on camera because the fear of being judged is showing up. But do it anyway, record yourself, post yourself on social media, whatever it is that you need to do. And, you recognize, with awareness, everything, gets more dissolved. So you recognize, you become aware. It's like, okay, it's the fear of being judged. What do I do now? Well, now I have to tap into the courage of it, and just do it anyway. So you have to have faith and you have to take action. And so all these things, it's just, anyone, if you're wanting to grow in any area of your life, of all those different areas that I was mentioning before, please do yourself a favor. connect with Giovanna, connect with me, connect with any other of the coaches at the Institute. We have a gazillion coaches at the Institute. So if you don't align with our energy, which I don't think it would be the case, because if not, you wouldn't be watching this far with Giovanna. But if you know, just find yourself someone that can support you along the way and make a decision that this year is going to be the year that you change. Hence the title of the show, Sparking Change. You know, it's like, just make that decision and move forward. You know, find someone that can support you with that.
It's all about making a decision, right? It's all about, I mean, we have so many choices in life that we make, and we always tend to put ourselves last. And I repeat myself because it's a conditioning. It's a conditioning to say, you know what, my job comes first. My husband comes first. My kids come first. I consider myself last. And then next thing you know, like 40 years went by and you go, what have I done with my life? You know, like you have those midlife crises going on, right? And you're 50 and you're 60, like, what have I accomplished? Where have the years gone by? And if I wish I knew what I know now 30 years ago, I probably would have definitely been in coaching 30 years ago. And because I've learned that we do have everything we need to achieve whatever we want. But because of our life experiences, because of our environment, because of our conditioning, limiting beliefs, we never take that chance on ourselves. So, and this is why even the coaching business has grew tremendously, because everyone benefits from having a coach. So it's so essential that if you want to achieve greater things in life, you know, everyone wants to have that big bank account, but what are you going to do to receive that big bank account? You have to put yourself out there. And this is where a coach will mentor you to help you get to where you want to be. I know we were talking about goals before, right? And having a goal that impacts the world. It's not going to just impact you, but you're going to make a difference in this world. I think each of us, and if you look back at any successful person, what they do impacts humanity, right? It just doesn't impact them, and they will have the rewards from making this world a better place. So this is the stuff that, again, we don't learn in school. I hate to say it, but I went to school for 23 years. I've never gotten taught this by any professors or any teachers. And
even if it's for, like as you're saying that, Giovanna, because I have a 10-year-old and I'm teaching her all these things, and it's an ongoing joke at home. You know, it's like, and that they say at the Napoleon Hill Institute, this and that, and that Napoleon Hill say this, and that Napoleon, you know, and I go with the jokes because the seeds are being planted. Guess what? She's got a vision board that she just set up yesterday. She did it faster than I did for this year. And she's hearing all these stories, you know, like all the things that I'm learning, I'm passing down to her because it's not being passed down in the school. So for those of you that have children, like Giovanna's saying, we haven't learned these things at school. You know, that's why a place like the Napoleon Hill Institute exists, you know, because you want to learn to master your mind. No one teaches us how to think at school. They teach us how they want us to think. And so we think that we're thinking, but we're really not thinking. No one really teaches us that. And so for those of you that are like, well, I wouldn't invest in coaching or whatever, think of it, if you do have kids, what this might do for the future generation and for your children and for your grandchildren, you know, because if you can change and be an example for your children and take this material that you're learning, you know, as you're being coached by someone else or mentored in the Institute and learning all the secrets, you know, of how to achieve these goals and these desires. First, you're being an example for your kids and your family. But second, you're passing this information on, because believe it or not, kids are like sponges and they're absorbing all that. And what a better thing to gift them then give them, again, limiting beliefs and the patterns that we keep on repeating over and over, generation after generation.
Right.
Be the pattern disruptor. That's my recommend for everyone, is choose and make that decision to be the disruptor and the generations to come. Make it different. Give them the gift of learning to understand themselves, to tap into their own dreams and desires by being an example for them.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that, because it really starts with us teaching our kids, and it goes on into future generations, right? Like to end this show with, Oprah is one of my favorite mentors, believe it or not. She does a lot of great things, and her mentor is Maya Angelou, and she, I have it written down here, and she says in one of her poems, "Nobody but nobody makes it out there alone," and that is the truth. Anybody who's had any level of success in their life got to where they are because somebody somewhere was a guiding light or a guiding force or a hand up or something that helped them become who they are. For sure, I think to be the best version of ourselves, getting a mentor is essential, because they see in us what we can't see in us. So I want to thank you, Tanya, for joining me today and, sharing your wisdom. And I know that we're here to help people really tap into their true potential and live the life that they really deserve. So thank you, everyone, for joining me on Sparking Change with Gigi, and we'll hope to see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on Sparking Change with Gigi. I hope that our episode today has ignited a spark within you to create positive change in your own life and in the world around you. To learn more about how you can become a guest or supporter, head over to sparkingchangenow.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing, sharing, and leaving a review. Your feedback is incredibly valuable to me, and it helps me to continue producing content that sparks change in each of us and the world. You can find us on various platforms, including Google Play Store, Apple App Store, YouTube, Facebook, Roku, Android TV, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you again for watching, and I look forward to having you join me again next week on Sparking Change with Gigi.